Hi guys, my name is Alyssa, and as most of you know, I just completed a series on Venus in the signs, and because I did that, I kind of wanted to recap all that I recapped and just give you a little bit more information on the planet Venus. It's always brought to my attention that we don't all in the entire world understand that the Venus placement is not your sun sign placement or your star sign placement, that your Venus placement is actually something completely different. And so I wanted to just kind of go into what Venus is all about, what it means, what it does, where it is, and kind of just recap some other things about the signs. First of all, Venus is a planet. It's very close to Earth. It's the planet of love. Venus is Roman mythology for the name of the goddess of love. So the counterpart in Greek mythology is Aphrodite, which most people know that Aphrodite and Venus are not technically, I don't want to screw up Rome and Greece, and maybe they hate each other, I don't know. Essentially the same idea of this Greek goddess who actually people would set up wonderful temples of prostitution in her honor, which is kind of a weird thing because when I think about Venus, I don't necessarily think about sex. I think about love. I think about romance, and I think about relationships and human interaction, or even your relationship to your job or your life or your dog or your kitchen or whatever. In each different person, you all have a Venus placement, and wherever that Venus is placed is basically the desires of your heart. There's no possible way that if you're, say, a Leo, you would have your Venus in Aquarius. Your Venus needs to be no more than 28 degrees away from your sun sign. If it is more than 28 degrees away, you are getting inaccurate information. So we don't round in this situation. We don't say, oh, maybe you're a little bit different. No, Venus and the sun have a very good understanding of their placement in the sky, and we're not here to mess that up. Astronomy and astrology can work together. So your Venus placement is going to be 28 degrees or no more than 2 signs away. My stepdaughter, whose birthday is tomorrow, her Venus is in Aries. Her sun sign is in Gemini. So she is a Gemini. Her Venus is in Aries. So that's pretty much as far away as you can get. I'm a Libra, so my sun sign is Libra. My Venus is in Virgo, which is 1 sign away. My husband, he's a Scorpio. His Venus is in Scorpio, same sign. And actually they're right on top of each other. Venus then is the planet of love, as I said. So wherever it is and whatever sign it's in, it's going to affect you in that way. I'm not totally into exalted planets, and I mean, I understand them, like I get it, and I don't know if I like explaining it to people because you're like, oh yeah, your planet's exalted. Everyone should have, or not everyone, most people have an exalted planet or maybe a debilitated planet in their chart. Venus is exalted in Pisces because Pisces, Neptune, gives Venus the ability to express itself in boundless ways. If you have your Venus in Pisces, you have no capacity cap for love. You have Pisces, opposition of Pisces is Virgo. So Virgo is where Venus becomes debilitated, and that's where mine is. The reason it's debilitated here in Virgo is because it's very hard for Venus in Virgo to understand love, to really take love for what it is, and to just dive into love and feel love. You think about it very practically to the point that love almost becomes this really boring thing. When I like to think about Venus in Virgo and how debilitated it is, I think about Kim Kardashian, who has her Venus in Virgo, and because her life is always splattered all over the news, she's an easy person for people to understand, I think. She gets into fake relationships. She expresses herself in a fake way that people just really don't like. She's perfectly willing in faking a relationship because for her there's not much of a difference. And sometimes you can really feel that with the Venus in Virgo, that they may not have the full and total capacity to love as deep as all of the other signs. Doesn't mean that a Venus in Virgo cannot love, and that's why I don't necessarily always share that information. And it doesn't mean that a Venus in Pisces knows exactly how to love. They sometimes explode with love, and it's not real either. I want you to look at each sign that Venus falls in and just kind of be able to figure out that every Venus placement is the same. There's good things about it and there's bad things about it. And not one is better than the other. Not one is more exciting to have than the other one. It just makes you who you are. Now, compatibility with Venus, it's just like sun sign compatibility. You don't want to mix the wrong elements. So, elementally, why people always ask me, what's good with the Venus and Aries? You can figure this out very easily on your own. Fire and air work, earth and water work. Oppositions kind of work. So, if you're an Aries, that's a fire sign. So you're going to be good with other Aries, Leos, Sagittariuses, Geminis, and Aquarians. Now, Libra is the opposite of Aries. Therefore, it becomes Aries opposition. So you'd put that in the neutral zone. You might actually want to take Aries and Aries and put the other Aries in the neutral zone, because same exact sign doesn't always work. Neither does the opposition. So if your Venus then is in Virgo, you may do all right with a Venus in Pisces. But you're probably going to do really good with a Venus in Scorpio or a Venus in Cancer. Because earth and water work, it makes mud. Earth and earth works, it makes dirt, or makes earth. Water works, it makes extra water. Fire works. Fire and air works. It's an hot air explosion. And air work. Alright, so if you know the elements to the sign, you got this compatibility thing down, and you don't need to know my take on it. I don't like compatibility. Most people know that about me. Why don't I like compatibility? Because I think the one thing that you can do, this is my Venus and Virgo coming out, the best thing you can do for yourself in love is to make a shit ton of mistakes. If you don't make those mistakes, you're not going to understand what love can do for you, what your Venus sign can do for you, and you won't understand yourself, and you won't understand what you want. The best way to find somebody that completes you is to make those mistakes in the first place, so you know. Most people don't just walk outside and meet their knight in shining armor when they're 5. Most people, when that does happen to them, they're not necessarily content their whole life because they're always kind of wondering what's on the other side. So mistakes are very important. Don't use astrology to strain through the mistakes that you might make. That's wrong. Not wrong, it's sad for you. You can do the elemental thing. I do the elemental thing in my head all the time. I'm like, okay, I'm a Libra, my husband's a Scorpio, that fucking doesn't work. Well, my Venus is in Virgo, his is in Scorpio, so that kind of works. You know, you can do shit like that if you want to, but the moment you place a stake on that kind of easy compatibility, that kind of really simple compatibility, you're not allowing for life to happen. Just remember that. Knowing where your Venus is really does help you get the things that you want in life. You look into that, the house and the sign that your Venus falls into, and you can really see what you want and what other people expect of you and what will truly make you happy. Some people can figure this out just by thinking about it. We don't all have that luxury. And so that's just kind of my take on Venus. If you want to know more, if you go to AlyssaSharpe.com and go to love signs, you can definitely see all my videos in order, so that might help you figure out your Venus sign a little bit better. Buy a book, go to Barnes & Noble, just read it, go to the library, Google what you want to know. And things will come up for you. So, with that being done, the Venus right now is done and I am moving on. So stay tuned to find out what I move on to. Bye.